Welcome and hello. I am Renee Stahl, and I am your guide through this journey of cultivating your inner yogi. There is a Zen side within all of us waiting to be ignited to create vitality and help us become what it is we seek. What we will learn. The world is our playground. What are yoga and Ayurveda? History of yoga. History of Ayurveda. Ayurveda is goals and intention setting, affirmations and mantras, what is pranayama, and meditation made easy. So if all these things sound slightly foreign to you, don't worry. We will dig deeper and even define these and learn how to practice some of this. The world is our playground, not a burden to carry on our shoulders. So often we feel the weight of the world or our friends and family members' struggles because we feel the need to help them. We tend to give and give and give, but not take time for ourselves. As we move through these modules, I encourage you to allow yourself to be guided. Let this be some me time for yourself, and know you can make time for you to cultivate a lighter version of you, one that can stand on your own 2 feet, but also be available to others without feeling burdened, and actually helping others because you want to. You love to, and you have the energy to do so. But if you continue on a path of not taking some time for yourself and continuing your ability to grow in the form of learning something new and cultivating a better lifestyle, a healthier mindset, then you will continue to just drive yourself into the ground. So allow these modules to help be something to help feed yourself, nourish yourself, and cultivate some peace of mind. What is yoga? The word yoga is derived from the Sanskrit root yuj, meaning to bind, join, attach, and yoke, to direct and concentrate one's attention on, to use and apply. And this is based on the book Light on Yoga by BKS Iyengar. To yoke is to unite, which brings us to the union of mind, body, and spirit. So you're going to unite and yoke the mind, body, and spirit together. What is Ayurveda? Ayurveda is the knowledge of life. It's the lesser known sister science to yoga. It is believed that good health can be achieved through a balance of mind, body, and spirit. And even though it is the lesser known, it is gaining popularity. We see this in turmeric supplements popping up everywhere, and in people taking a bigger interest in their own health and taking their own health into their hands. History of. All right. Before we move on, I have a disclaimer. The purpose of covering a brief history is to learn and prove a point that there is more to yoga than what we see on Facebook, Instagram, magazines, and even in a yoga studio. Yoga goes far beyond what today's generations have made it, and I believe it is important to know this to understand why the benefits of yoga can be for everyone. And you don't even have to step into a big box yoga studio to reap the benefits of yoga and Ayurveda. So no real need to have to memorize these dates and all the facts. I myself don't claim to be a good historian. History is my weakness. It always has been. Even American history gets lost with me. If a deeper of knowledge of the history of yoga does interest you and you want to seek more history, I have heard the book, The Yoga Tradition, Its History, Literature, Philosophy, and Practice by George Frustein is a great resource as this book explains the chronology of the history of the yoga in depth. All right, history of yoga. The Vedic period, roughly 5000 BCE, some also say 2000 to 1000, The reason for this is because originally, all of this way back in the day, they didn't have paper and pens, right? It wasn't written down. It was just discussed, shared, practiced on each other, and it was just a knowledge that you needed to even survive. So before it was even in any kind of texts. It does have also more sounds, mantras, and rituals. Because back in the day when they communicated, it was more of just sounds that they communicated with each other. Before actual languages were written and studied and alphabets even were created, everything was just kind of a sound. But everybody understood the sounds, kind of like how Mother Nature these days, how bugs and animals communicate with each other. To us, it doesn't appear to be a language at all, but yet they understand each other. Pre-classical yoga, 1000 BCE, there starts to be a collection of texts containing songs, mantras, and rituals. So I started to kind of translate and write down a little bit and pass on these songs, mantras, and rituals again. And that's when we start to have the self-knowledge, the karma yoga, the bhakti, the jnana yoga, but still no hard evidence of physical practice. Classical yoga, 200 CE. The classical period is defined by Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, the first systematic presentation of yoga. Patanjali organized the practice of yoga into an 8-limbed path, containing the steps and stages towards obtaining what's called samadhi or enlightenment. Patanjali is often considered the father of yoga, and his Yoga Sutras will still strongly influence most styles of modern yoga. One of the 8 limbs is what's called asana in Sanskrit, which is the introduction to physical practice of yoga. So this is where we do start to find some references to a physical practice beyond just songs, mantras, rituals, and passing down traditions and tips and tricks between each other. Post-classical yoga, 500 CE to 1900 CE, we have the exploration of physical, spiritual connections and the body-centered practices led to the creation of what we primarily think of yoga in the West, which is Hatha yoga. Hatha is also another Sanskrit word that we will break down here in just a moment. The modern period, Hatha yoga is greatly influenced by the gymnastics of the British Empire, and hybrid vinyasa styles are born out of British occupation of India. Various masters come to America and start to teach yoga to a new audience, and then it's just been passed on and taught and practiced within studios here in the Western cultures in America. The yoga pie. This is what I call my yoga pie. And so it's breaking down some of the different styles of yoga or concepts of yoga. So at the top there I have Hatha, which Ha is the sun, Tha means moon. So Ha and Tha are Sanskrit for sun and moon. So it implies a yin and a yang whenever you think about it. So when you have a yin and a yang, the opposites, the sun, the moon, night, day, black, white, hot, cold. So hatha is the combining of that yin and yang, that with everything in life, there's a something and then there's its counterbalance to it. So yoga truly is that practice of, or the physical practice of, a forward fold and a back bend. A twist to the right needs a twist to the left. So that's where you combine that yin and yang and you come up with hatha. And this is also where the breath is combined. So where there's also a physical aspect, when something's alive, then it also generally needs oxygen to breathe, or like plants need the opposite of that, but still they need something in the form of pranayama, a life force to keep them alive. So pranayama is the life force in the extended breath. Jnana is the study and knowledge. Like what you are doing right here, right now with these 5 modules. You are studying and taking on some knowledge of how to cultivate an inner yogi or just some inner peace of mind. Bhakti is the devotion and love. It is from your heart, doing things from your heart and for the love of something. So even if you're going for a walk on the beach, a hike, if you love to run, playing a sport, or just reading a book because it's something you love, that is bhakti. Bhakti is love, doing something for the devotion and love of. Mantra is repeating a positive affirmation to keep it simple. Mantra can go pretty deep, but again, to keep it simple, it's just repeating a positive affirmation for the purpose of this module and series. It is the sound of yoga, a chant or a hymn. So even a hymn shows up whenever, if you go to church, you sing hymns, right? So it's a chant or a hymn. It's the sound of yoga that kind of unites everybody, brings everything together. It's the beauty and a form of communication through sound. Raja Yoga emphasizes the benefits of meditation for spiritual self-realization and the purposeful evolution of consciousness. So this could be after doing a breathing exercise or singing a chant or hymn to help you get through a tough time. The benefit is you feel calmer. So after even doing a yoga practice or meditating, singing, whatever it is, it's a form of a release. And then afterwards, you tune into how you feel afterwards. That nice bliss of combining even the mind, body, and spirit. And that self-realization that we can actually control our emotions a little bit by calming them down to find clarity and just sitting with your thoughts and knowing everything's going to be okay. You just need to get through this moment. Karma yoga is taking action, selfless service, volunteering your time. Like at your child's school, a soup kitchen, or picking up trash at the park. But it doesn't always have to be an organized volunteer. Karma can come from daily acts of kindness, like holding open a door for someone. We will discover more about samadhi in Module 4, but basically by doing any of these 6 practices, or all 6 of them, your goal is to reach samadhi. And samadhi is just that place of clearer thoughts, a blissful feeling in your body, peace of mind, just finding the calmness in the storm. That's samadhi. So your goal through any of these 6 practices is to just find samadhi. History of Ayurveda. First, I'd like to point out again that Ayurveda and yoga are sisters. Sahara Rose, she's the author of The Idiot's Guide to Ayurveda, says, Ayurveda is the world's oldest health system and sister science of yoga, originating in India 5,000 years ago. It's the age-old secret to longevity, digestive health, mental clarity, beauty, and balance. And Ayurveda started prior to any kind of texts or books. It was the sharing of their knowledge via passing on information. More on the history of Ayurveda. Ayurveda was first recorded in the Veda, the world's oldest existing literature. The 3 most important Veda texts containing the original and complete knowledge of Ayurveda, believed to be over 1,200 years old, is still in use today, customarily passed on orally from teacher to student. The wisdom of Ayurveda is recorded in Sanskrit, the ancient language of India that reflects the philosophy behind Ayurveda and the depth within it. Ayurveda greatly influenced healthcare practices in the East and the West. It kind of arm wrestled with Chinese medicine. You will see that there are similarities between the two if you ever study Chinese medicine. But the two complement each other as well as influenced each other and shared their research. The philosophy of Ayurveda teaches a series of conceptual systems characterized by balance and disorder, health and disease. So again, we have that yin and yang, the opposites of each other, the ha and the tha, moon and sun. Disease/health results from the interconnectedness between the self, personality, and everything that occurs in the mental, emotional, and spiritual being. To be healthy, harmony must exist between the purposes for healing, thoughts, feelings, and physical action. Ayurveda became known as an alternative medicine, which is often talked about today, that we call it an alternative medicine, when the British colonies started to settle and take over India. Ayurveda had to become kind of an underground practice and something that was done from the kitchen table and hush hush. Because when you look way back into the texts of the British colonies settling in different countries, and how they suppressed any other knowledge that was different than their knowledge. They kind of came through and really, like I said, suppressed some things. So nowadays we're starting to see some of that suppression coming out. Just think, 200 to 500 years later, we finally start to return back to these methods, and they're thought of as alternative medicine when they were the original. But just some history on that through the British colonies and how they settled into different parts of our world. Ayurveda is a science of life. Ayur equals life, Veda equals science or knowledge. It offers a body of wisdom designed to help people stay vibrant, healthy, while realizing their full human potential. That's Deepak Chopra. Ayurveda is a medical science deeply focused on healing and maintaining the quality and longevity of life. Ayurveda actually has some of the first notes on surgery even. A true Ayurvedic doctor has just as much training as a Western MD, our doctors here in the United States. The daily practice of Ayurveda combines mind, body, and spirit just like yoga, because remember, they are sisters. It offers specific guidelines, practices, recipes, and remedies to enable you to achieve balance. It takes into consideration that no one is the same. We all have specific needs. However, it is broken down into 5 elements and 3 doshas as our guidelines. Ayurveda is gaining popularity today. Oil pulling, dry brushing, eating certain foods seasonally, and use of turmeric is encapsulated and sold almost everywhere for its anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antidepressant, and anti-aging benefits. So a daily practice would be what we do as non-doctors for ourselves. Ayurveda believed in people being able to take care of their daily ailments and seeking a doctor when really sick. So remedies were passed down by generation after generation, basically at the kitchen table. And this got lost on us Westerners. Our grandmothers' mothers knew more than we know now. As Westerners, we started to live by a food pyramid, and our country has become obese and sick. We also allow big pharma to fill their pockets with money, and when you go to the doctor, they don't have the knowledge or time to educate you on better daily habits or food as medicine. They usually just end up writing a prescription. And this is definitely become by design. It's definitely nothing against your doctor, because I actually love the doctor that Derek and I used to see while he was growing up. He was a great person, and he definitely helped us when we needed to see a doctor. But his appointments are stacked so back to back that he really doesn't have time to talk to you about nutrition. And by design, as Westerners, even years ago, this started happening, and it's just the way medicine is practiced these days in the United States. It's by appointment only, and you barely get a 10 to 15 minute session. So coming back to these thoughts that we can take some of our daily ailments into our own hands and try and feel better on a daily basis by practicing better daily habits. So Ayurveda, that's where Ayurveda comes in. Yes, there are doctors of Ayurveda that know way more than I do, but that doesn't mean that we can't take in a simple daily practice of better choices to help ourselves out. All right, moving on. Ayurveda is and helps us understand why some people do well on a certain diet and others do not. I also like to add to this the pH balance of a person's body. If a person's body is alkaline naturally, their body will react differently than someone whose body tends to be more acid. Have you ever heard someone say that a method or a supplement was amazing for them? It changed their lives. But you try it or take it and you don't feel anything, or possibly you feel worse. Like some people can take on eating more green foods and even smoothies, the green smoothies that are out these days, and they feel amazing. Well, they were probably more acidic to begin with, and so all those alkaline greens balance them out. If somebody's already super alkaline and they add more alkaline, they might start to feel worse than they did. So knowing your body's pH, which I consult people on that. That is one of my specialties that I do, and I'm hoping to write a module on that someday soon as well. But for now, we're going to stick to Ayurveda. But Ayurveda is very similar. Once you know your body type, you start to realize why some foods resonate with one person and not the other. Americans are getting tired of one-size-fits-all approach to health, which brings us to the 3 doshas. Dosha equals energy. There's the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. You can be dominant in one dosha, but also have a mix. For example, you could be Vata, Pitta, or Vata, Kapha, and so on. In a few rare cases, people are even a mixture of all 3 doshas called a tridosha. We should strive for tridosha. Taking this seasonal approach is always helpful. But honestly, it would be ideal, right? To be a balance of all 3. Just something to think about. We dive into Ayurveda deeper in Module 2. Right now, we're just sowing the seeds of Ayurveda, and we will cultivate them and grow them in Module 2. Ayurveda and yoga. So just kind of something to ponder. Today, 30% of Americans have practiced yoga. The increasingly widespread practice of yoga has made people interested in Ayurveda. The Vedas intended these sciences to be practiced together, although Ayurveda is only now beginning to get some of its popularity in the sisters' spotlight. If you've taken a yoga class, what was your reasoning behind your practice? Was it to become one with the divine source? Or was it to become healthier and more balanced? If the former, then you were actually practicing yoga. If the latter, then you are actually practicing Ayurveda. Ayurveda's purpose is to achieve health, while yoga's is to achieve spiritual enlightenment. In fact, most people at yoga are likely practicing Ayurveda rather than yoga because it's the health benefits they seek rather than the oneness with the divine. And this is by Sahara Rose again, the author of The Idiot's Guide to Ayurveda. We will cover more on this, of course, in Module 2, but I really found this really interesting, and it is so true. You hear people say that they started going to yoga and they started to feel less achy in their joints, their mind is more settled, they're digesting their food better. So those would be actually the benefits of Ayurveda. So if you're going for the health benefits, you're actually practicing Ayurveda. But if you're going because you're trying to reach this unconscious state or sub-unconscious state of being, like meditation, where you're all of a sudden you're like floating in space and you're having an outer body experience, then that would be that that divine source, or you're trying to seek something outside of the health benefits. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, moving on. I also made an Ayurveda pie. If we're going to have a yoga pie, we should have an Ayurveda pie, right? So Ayurveda, there's like kind of 6 different ways you can practice Ayurveda. An external way, an easy way, is to do some tongue scraping in the morning, or maybe morning and night, to remove any toxins from the tongue. You even do this before you drink water in the morning, because think about it. If you, after all night, your body's been cleansing and leaves this gunk in your mouth, and then you drink water, you're just swallowing that gunk that your body spent time on all night trying to bring to the surface. So scraping your tongue first thing in the morning before you drink anything else to remove some of the toxic waste from sleeping at night. Also includes dry brushing, oil massage, oil pulling. Oil pulling is similar to tongue scraping. You swish coconut oil or sesame oil in your mouth, and it's supposed to help pull out toxins. The doshas, catering to your specific needs. So this is also finding out kind of what body type you are, what type of digestion you have, what foods serve you better, what foods don't serve you well, and then catering to your specific needs. Seasonal, this is eating just seasonally. This time of year, winter, if you're listening to this in the winter, you should be eating cooked foods. It's easier to digest and it warms you from the inside out. In the summer, that's when you can eat more of your raw fruits and vegetables to help cool you down, because sometimes you have extra fire. And then there's herbal. So like taking supplements or drinking teas could be a practice of Ayurveda. Again, I'm going to dive much deeper into all of this when we get to Module 2, but I just want to give you guys a brief, again, sowing some seeds for the future. But herbal, today you could even start taking on drinking more tea, supplements. If you already are taking supplements, you're practicing Ayurveda without even knowing it. This doesn't imply that I want you to go out today and buy more supplements, because there's the other 5 ways of practicing Ayurveda that don't require having to spend money on supplements. But definitely teas. I would encourage you to add some tea to your diet if you don't already. There's a simple tridosha tea that we will get into, where you steep fennel, cumin, and coriander to make a tridosha tea to help balance out the 3 doshas and your digestion in your body. We will get more into this, but that's what practicing Ayurveda herbally would be. Pranayama would be the breath. So even just like in the yoga wheel, practicing some breath work is practicing Ayurveda. If you're practicing your breath for health benefits, to calm down anxiety, stress, depression, if you're trying to treat your body through breath, you're actually practicing Ayurveda. And then there's asana. Asana is Sanskrit for pose or the physical practice of yoga. So this is getting the physical stimulation. Like I said, I'm doing yoga for the physical benefits. Like twisting gets your digestion going, and also removes lactic acid from the joints from running a marathon. So practicing a physical practice of yoga is, again, Ayurveda, as we discussed in one of the other slides. It also compresses the organs to help them detox. So these are 6 different ways you can practice Ayurveda. You can do all 6 of these, or you can just maybe pick 1 or 2 of these that work well for your schedule, or, as you start to sample and add Ayurveda more to your life. And the goal of practicing Ayurveda would be for that prana. prana is the life force or the life energy, the vitality. So you're doing this more as a lifestyle and a daily practice, just so you can feel better on a daily basis. Because life is meant to be lived now, not in the past and not into the future. So these are things you can be doing daily. And you don't need a doctor to practice these 6 things daily to have better health on a daily basis. Ayurveda and yoga. So prior to Module 2, your homework will be to take the dosha quiz. So I've been talking about the 3 doshas and the 5 elements. So you need to take this dosha quiz, which I've provided on the NamaStream website that has this dosha quiz in it. Open it up in a PDF. You can click electronically on the little bubbles to answer your questions and figure out which dosha you are. You can also print it if you're a paper type person. You really like to be able to grip things and hold it in your hand and fill it out with a pencil. You can print this as well, or do it all online and just save it online and remove clutter from your house. All right, now we move on to goals and intention setting, affirmations and mantras, visualization, and light meditation. I say light meditation, also known as like kind of some easy meditation. Meditation doesn't have to be what's often joked about. Everybody can have a little time to themselves to be able to think, breathe, visualize, and maybe repeat a positive affirmation and become what you seek. So what are they? I actually took these definitions off of the internet definitions, so various dictionaries, whichever definition I resonated with, so Merriam-Webster, Wikipedia, and so on. So what are they? Goal, the object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or desired result. Intentions, 1, it's a thing intended, an aim or a plan, so kind of similar to a goal. 2, the action or fact of intending. So what is it that you intend to do or intend to be? Do you intend to be a nicer, kinder person, or do you intend to be healthier on a daily basis? So it's the action of intending for something. An affirmation, the action or process of affirming something or being affirmed. 2, emotional support or encouragement. So it's always nice to have that affirmation. Yes, I am affirming that this is what I am. I am healthy. I am balanced. I am kindness. I am love. So affirm that in you. Mantra, a word, a word or sound repeated to aid concentration in meditation. Example, a statement or slogan repeated frequently. Again, mantra goes really deep. It's a whole realm of its own. But for the purpose of this, it will be a word or sound repeated to aid in concentration and meditation. It'll be that affirmation to affirm something being affirmed. And it's that intention or action of what you intend to be as you work towards your goals. Let's do some basic goal setting, shall we? What are your goals? If you need to pause this at any time to write some of these down, go for it. But what are your goals? What is it that you seek? What makes a viable goal? Is it measurable? Something that is viable is capable of doing what is intended to do, like losing 10 to 20 pounds over 3 to 6 months. That is a realistic and ideal goal for the average person that is 10 to 20 pounds overweight. But you're watching the Olympics this winter and you see Lindsey Vonn, 6 foot tall, slender, blonde hair, amazing athlete, accomplishing some amazing things, and wishing you were her is not a viable goal. Yes, it's an extreme example, but a good example of it not being a viable goal. But losing 10 to 20 pounds over 3 to 6 months is very viable for the average person. Is it measurable? Can you weigh yourself once a week or once every 2 weeks to see if you're on track and making progress? Yes. And say 3 months is your goal. Losing a pound a week for 3 months would be 12 pounds at the end of that 3 months. So you can measure it, 1 pound a week. Make it viable, make it doable, and measure it. Also, celebrate your milestones. We are more apt to accomplish our goals if they are broken down into milestones. A checklist or a to-do list with the intention of checking off as we go and celebrate each and every one. A simple high five can make you feel accomplished. I highly suggest if your goal is something like losing weight, celebrate with a high five or a hug with someone who's helping keep you accountable. Celebrating a weight loss goal by eating something sinful is not a good way to celebrate that milestone. We tend to become a society where we feel entitled and we want to treat ourselves with something sinful to feel like we're celebrating because I'm entitled to that big piece of cake because I lost 1 pound. So resist letting food be the reward whenever losing weight is the goal. And an example might be you want to start eating better and live more Ayurvedically. So you will need to learn what Ayurveda is, but don't get caught up in having to know everything before you start. Baby steps and milestones are the best way to inflict change in your life and make them stick. Thinking you need to know everything before you start is a method of diversion or putting things off. So you don't need to know everything about Ayurveda to start living a more Ayurveda life. As we discussed in my Ayurveda pie, if you're taking some supplements for good health today already, you're probably already practicing Ayurveda and you don't know it. So an example of how you can start today without having to have done my module 2 of this Cultivate Your Inner Yogi to start living Ayurveda today. But here are 5 steps to get you going by the end of this week. Right away, start to drink tea daily. You can do chai tea, that's Ayurvedic, but do the tea bags or loose leaf and resist the liquid sweetened stuff. So the stuff you buy already in a box that's already brewed and mixed and sweetened, resist buying that stuff. It probably has other stuff in it that you don't need, not to mention the sugar and then preservatives. But you can simply buy tea bags, and if you do need some sweetener, use a little bit of stevia or honey. I also am providing the do-it-yourself tri-dosha tea to get your digestion going, to help heal your gut. If you have some stomach issues, you can start drinking the tri-dosha tea right away to start helping with some gut issues. Add some turmeric to your diet. Start to cook with it or buy some capsules. Again, I don't want to promote that you need to go out and spend a lot of money today or tomorrow. But if turmeric doesn't taste good to you, go pick up some capsules at the store next time you're at the store. Bone broth is an easy way to get more healthy digestive stuff into your diet as well, kind of like drinking a tea, but you're getting the bone broth. Bone broth has collagen in it. It's also going to help your skin, so create beautiful, fuller skin. If you're starting to notice your wrinkles are getting deeper, drink some bone broth. It's great for your belly. Your belly's also there's a lot of collagen in your intestines and in your stomach lining, so collagen just all around is good for you, for the appearance of your skin as well as your internal organs. You can't go wrong with it. Make some soup with bone broth. Tongue scraping, I mentioned this earlier, first thing in the morning, scrape your tongue. Use a tongue scraper, or I've heard of people using a spoon. You can be stainless steel. Resist a plastic one. We don't need more plastic in our lives. And Also resist wanting to use your toothbrush. A toothbrush is for brushing your teeth. A tongue scraper is used to scrape your tongue. Acquiring a book, training, or an appointment with an expert. The expert can be at any level if you're just seeking good daily habits. So just by even doing this training, you've already accomplished step number 5. If you have more serious health issues, though, seek a more accredited professional. I don't claim to be an MD of Ayurveda. I am a master herbalist and work more at that level. I can definitely help people with some daily habits to help you feel better on a daily basis and reverse some issues that might be first level issues. But if you're getting into some deeper stages of some kind of illness in your body, then you would probably want to seek a more accredited professional to help you through those. But just by doing 4 of these, even 5 things in a week, you are living more Ayurvedically. And in the meantime, learning more and adding on to this and getting closer to a goal of living more Ayurvedically. But you can definitely start very low level. Coming back to my Ayurveda pie in the beginning, those 6 different methods of creating more vitality in your body, the prana, the life force is what Ayurveda is all about. Just feeling better even on a daily basis by taking some simple actions daily. Alright, the Tridoshic tea. 1 teaspoon of coriander, fennel, and cumin in hot water. Strain and sip like tea. The idea is to make a batch of 4 to 5 cups. Store it in a thermos so you can drink it all day warm, especially if you're trying to heal or build. If you're having some stomach issues or cleanse your body, you're trying to heal or build. So the idea would be to drink it all day. Also, this could go along with if you've been having a lot of reoccurring headaches. It's a good sign that you need to even get your digestion moving better so that you're getting rid of whatever makes you toxic and creating those headaches. So having an upset belly or headache are just kind of those lower level early symptoms of maybe something bigger going on in your body that Ayurveda in this Tridoshic tea can be amazing for. Without even having to seek professional help, it's a great place to start. But if symptoms continue or get worse, then you definitely want to seek some better help. Cumin is for digestion, gas, and other digestive issues, also known to soothe inflamed mucous membranes. Mucous membranes are all over our body. Some of the more well-known ones are your sinuses, respiratory, the bronchioles deep down in there, and also the small intestine, large intestine, and colon have mucous membranes. That's what helps lubricate those tunnels to keep your food and nutrition flowing through to eventually become waste. Coriander relieves gas, indigestion, and spasms. So this could even be like that heartburn that you feel up in the chest, so spasms, or diarrhea could be created from spasms as well. Fennel for colic, IBS, and other painful digestive issues. So again, that place where you go back and forth between constipation and diarrhea, the irritable bowel syndrome, where the muscles tend to be a little bit overactive or underactive, and in some days both. So you need to relax those muscles to get them functioning properly. This also gets the lymph flowing. Another goal, you may want to run a 5K. Determine your start point. For this example, I'm starting you from the couch. So if you are starting from the couch or a very low level place in your goal, you definitely want to start right away. So even without having the whole picture planned out, start walking immediately. No putting off getting your body moving while you create the remaining milestones. You don't need to wait to do this. If you've been sitting on the couch, just get up and get moving. putting this off until you have the entire goals written out is an example of diversion and putting something off. So be more of an example of how you don't have to have all the facts to start. Just start getting the body moving off the couch, right? And then start to pick a goal date. Maybe it's a specific 5K race. Figure out how many weeks between now and then you have to work up to the intensity and get your body in shape. So let's say it's 8 weeks out. So each week, your first week, walk 1 mile. So for 6 to 7 days, walk 1 mile every day, or as often as you can get out. The second week, add on a mile, so you're walking 2 miles. Third week, add on a mile, so you're walking 3 miles. The fourth week, start to do some intermittent training with walking for 4 minutes, then run for 1 minute for your 3 miles. Then the fifth week, walk 3 minutes, run 2 minutes for 3 miles. The sixth week, walk 2 minutes, run 3 minutes for 3 miles. Seventh week, walk 1 minute, run 4 minutes for 3 miles. Then by the 8th week, run 3 miles, which is equivalent to kind of a 5K, so you've met your goal. Each week, remember to do your high five or a hug to kind of celebrate that you accomplished those milestones for that week. Now, intentions. An intention is like a goal, but it is more about how you see yourself, or your why and your how. Real quick, answer these questions. What do you seek? What is it you really want in life? This is your why. And try to narrow it down to 1 to 2 words. Examples of 1 to 2 words would be love, creativity, honesty, strength, some me time. You just need some stress relief. Letting go, freedom from whatever ties you down, and independence, happiness, and because you have a choice. You just want to be able to choose a healthier way. But narrow it down into one of those words or a word that resonates with you. It is your why. Why do you like to do yoga? Why do you like to play soccer? Why do you run, do crafts? Or why do you like to cook? If cooking is your passion, why do you like to cook? What is it that you get from cooking? What's your why? How does it make you feel? What's the result? If it's creativity, you feel like you're cultivating creativity in your life by cooking an amazing meal that you've never had before, then creativity is your word. It's what you seek. This feeds your soul, your mind, your heart. It's your why. And then turn it into your intention. It's what you intend to even have. When you're not cooking, you still want to feel creative. Or when you're not doing yoga, you still want to feel stress relief. When you're not playing soccer, you still want to feel like you're accomplishing something. You want to feel strength and independence. It's your why. Just simply put, why do you want a better life? Now, what keeps you from becoming what you seek? What keeps you from your intentions or feeling creative even when you're not cooking, or strong even when you're not doing yoga or playing soccer? What keeps you from becoming what you seek outside of your favorite activity? From being this true, authentic self with every activity or interaction you have in your life? Did you know the number one reason most goals, intentions, affirmations, and mantras do not work is because we stop ourselves? We get in our own way. We start to believe our own stories. We start to believe that this is the way life is. We even start to believe what other people say about us. And these things probably started to happen to us as kids or young adults. Sadly, people want to stay sick or stay at a low-level job or a job they dislike, or they want to stay lazy or stay in a bad relationship, because change is unknown. It is hard to do. It becomes easier to swallow feeling sorry for ourselves. It has become an identity and how we see ourselves. Drama is better than feeling nothing. Or we truly believe this is who I am. Like me or I don't give a blank if you don't. That whole like me for who I am, because I'm not willing to change. It's a rut. I'm here to tell you that's a rut, and that's a cop-out. I know deep down that you do want to change. You wish you did feel better on a daily basis. You wish you could stop those destructive habits, whatever it is. You wish you could. You may not be talking about it, but I know you do, because I do. I go through these things all the time. I've overcome several things in my life. I've overcome smoking cigarettes. I've overcome doing drugs. And lately I've even overcome alcohol. I have been abstaining from alcohol, which is not easy. I've overcome eating wheat and gluten because it didn't feel good to my body, and it was creating a lot of pain and unnecessary feelings in my body that I didn't want to feel on a daily basis. I have given up a lot to be who I am today and the health I am today, and I still know that I'm guilty of some bad habits that I could still get rid of. I am not perfect, and giving up any of these was never easy, but I know I've been there before. Whenever sometimes it's easier to think I would rather eat this piece of cake right here, right now, and enjoy the flavor of this, because it would be easier right now in this moment. But in the long run, I know I'm going to pay for it for a week or two after eating that piece of cake. So when you start to realize that the benefits overrule the habit, then you start to seek that benefit. That becomes your new intention. My intention is to feel good, and the benefit of staying away from wheat and gluten is that I will go on a hike tomorrow and feel good during that hike. It starts to overcome the drama of a bad relationship when you can step out of the relationship and see it from the outside in. The benefits start to overrule the drama, and whatever it is that keeps us in that bad behavior, you can start to overcome it, and then from the outside in, it's such an amazing transformation. We do have the ability to change, resist repeating history, and get out of our own way. We can do it. My favorite book, Playing Big by Tara Moore, covers this well and digs deep. It is a must-read and a re-reference over and over and over. I originally listened to her book on audible.com. She reads it. She's got a beautiful voice and a beautiful way of reading you her book. And I also bought the book in paper form so that I can have it to re-reference and highlight with a highlight marker and everything. But it's an amazing book to help create transformation in your body by learning about how we get in our own way and these demons and these thoughts that come up to stop us, because we start to think we're going to take the easier path when the easier path is the destructive path. Step off of it. Anyway, moving on. Let's turn our goals and intentions into affirmations and mantras. It is I am, I have, I love, I know. It is not I will, or I want to, or I wish. Say it in a way that you are saying it now. Resist using past or future tenses. You are it now. Even if you are not it now, you say you are it now. Like if your goal was to lose that 10 to 20 pounds, if you're 150 and you want to be 130, then your positive affirmation is, I am 130 pounds. Even if you are not 130 pounds today, your positive affirmation is, I am 130 pounds. So that's just an example of, even if you are not it now, that is what you say. You have to believe you are worthy. Most affirmations or mantras don't come true because people cannot fathom actually being what they seek. They hold on to what currently defines them with saying things like, I wish I was rich, or I want to lose weight. It is easier to attach to the current because creating change is hard, and letting go of attachment is even harder. It is easier to believe in what is now. It is a self-esteem problem. Wishing and wanting puts off into the future things that may never happen. Saying, I can't fathom having that much money. Therefore, you are saying you are not worthy, and you will never have that much money. Keep it positive by leaving out negative words. By even mentioning the negative, it is putting out there to the universe. Be careful with the power of suggestion and what you put out to the universe. Example of being positive and leaving out the negative. Negative affirmation or mantra would be, I am cancer-free. Yes, we all want to be cancer-free, but just saying the word cancer, it can be power of suggestion. We want to be clear here. Or what if a mantra keeps you cancer-free, but another illness or disease develops? Catch my drift? Instead, try, I am healthy and balanced. Since cancer, illness, or disease is the result of an imbalance in your body, say the result you want and what you intend to be, rather than what you fear. So say, I am healthy and balanced. Now pause and write down your mantra or mantras as you recall your intention we set a couple of slides ago, like, I am love, I am peace of mind, I know what I am doing, I am wealthy, I am creative, I am strength, I am abundance, I have an abundance of opportunities and choices. So create your mantra or positive affirmation. Pranayama. Pranayama is the conscious awareness of breath, the life force that both energizes and relaxes the body. We have more energy when we are relaxed. And we are more relaxed if we have the energy to accomplish our goals, intentions. The term is derived from the Sanskrit prana, meaning life force, and ayama, meaning extension. So our breath is our extension of our life force. Pranayama is the integral part of life, yoga, and Ayurveda. We need to practice pranayama in all three of these, life, yoga, Ayurveda. The controlled breathing enables the rhythm of performing yoga poses, relaxation for the mind in meditation, and the life force of Ayurveda. Remember, Ayurveda is known as the knowledge of life, and prana is life force. And we don't have life without breath. The oxygen that we get from breathing is so important to our entire body. It's vital. Breathing is the first thing you learned when you came out of your mama's belly. And once we started breathing, we started to take it for granted. So focus on some extra breath. Don't take it for granted that you're breathing. Just because you're here and alive today, that's wonderful, don't get me wrong. But mindfully breathe, especially when things are tough. Your breath is always there for you. That's why they have Lamaze for pregnant women delivering their babies, right? The breathing is what helps you get through it. Pranayama is also known as as one of the 8 limbs we will discuss in Module 4. Breathe like a turtle. So one of my favorite stories that a more seasoned yogi, one of my kind of yogi masters or mentors, gurus that I used to practice with, he would always talk about breathe like a turtle. A turtle can live to be 100 years or more. And they have the capability of holding their breaths, I think, for 30 minutes to an hour under the water. They come up for air, they get air, then they go down and actually nap and hide in the coral where they're safe from predators. They do breathe. They don't have gills, they're not a fish, but they have the capability of breathing slowly and holding their breath and cultivating and utilizing what oxygen they have in them to sustain their life and live to be 100 years old or more. Dogs, I love dogs. Everybody knows I got a Mojo, a little Chihuahua that I love to death. But dogs tend to pant and breathe quickly and fast, and unfortunately don't live as long as a turtle. A dog's lifespan, if he makes it to even 16 or 17, that's an amazing life for a dog. Sometimes it's only 10 years. So learn to breathe like a turtle. Love and snuggle and cuddle your dogs on a daily basis. But let a turtle be what guides you through your pranayama, your breathing, your life force. 2 types we will cover in this module, Ujjayi and Kumbhaka. Ujjayi is commonly translated as the victorious breath and has been used for thousands of years to enhance Hatha yoga practice. So remember, Hatha is the physical practice of the yin and the yang, the opposites. Also commonly referred to as the oceanic breath, the sound that the Ujjayi provides. So when you start to breathe in and out of your nose, you start to hear kind of the sound of the ocean moving in and out. It helps us to synchronize breath with movements during yoga, making the entire yoga practice more rhythmic. Again, Deepak Chopra. Also to note, the audible sound has been found to be soothing to the nervous system. Much like listening to waves of the ocean, it calms you down and mellows you out and relaxes you. Requires the slight constriction through the back of your throat while you inhale and exhale through your nose. Most commonly practiced in yoga studios with Vinyasa style of yoga. Vinyasa is a moving meditation linking postures and breath. So if you don't know what Vinyasa yoga is, it's the movement of the yoga linking the postures with breath. And it's often the style of yoga that's practiced in most yoga studios to this date. But you don't have to have movement for Ujjayi. You can just sit and breathe in and out of your nose and enjoy the sound of the waves of the ocean in and out. Kumbhaka is the retention breath. It is the pause between the inhale and exhale. According to Iyengar in Light on Yoga, the retention or holding the breath, a state where there is no inhalation or exhalation. Along with the inhale and exhale, the Kumbhaka is essential to any practice of pranayama. I like to refer to this breath as taking the time to smell the roses, or taking the time to recognize what goes on when we pause. During the slight pause, tune into what you feel, the fullness of the inhale and the emptiness of the exhale. This is my favorite breathing exercise. Truly, it is. To truly experience the emptiness of the exhale, you must almost completely empty your lungs to the point where you feel a slight panic, a true sensation of being empty. The reason we panic is because it is human nature to not like the feeling of being empty. We constantly buy material things, take on extra projects, or seek relationships to feel fullness. Being okay with the emptiness is the goal. Eventually, it feels natural to recognize the emptiness, and the fullness comes much easier too. We start to seek less external possessions to fill these voids. We start to truly appreciate the good things, the small things that are right in front of us. Plus, by practicing this retention breath specifically, as we breathe, we start to even appreciate the inhales in a greater sense. And pranayama, as we know it, truly does start to represent our life force. Even take a moment and pause here. Pause the actual video. And take a few deep breaths by pausing at the top of the inhale. You only have to pause as long as saying the word pause to yourself quietly. Then exhale all the air out. Just keep pressing all the air out. And when you get to the bottom, pause for just that moment and then start to inhale. You'll start to notice the inhales become better. It's just an amazing inhale. Because when you can truly experience the emptiness, then the fullness feels even better. And you start to, like I said, seek less things to fill you up. Because you start to appreciate how good it feels to recognize the yin and the yang of fullness and emptiness. When we can start to experience life a little bit more naturally, and taking the time to pause and even smell the roses, smell the flowers, then we start seeing other things in life. One of my favorite quotes: watch the river, the way it flows and effortlessly passes over the little impediments that get in its way. That is the way to walk through life, unencumbered by the small challenges that happen every day. By Daniel Levin, The Zen Book. All right, now meditation made easy. There are many things in life that are beyond our control. However, it is possible to take responsibility for our own states of mind and to change them for the better. It is possibly the most important thing we can do for ourselves. It is the only real antidote to our own personal sorrows and to the anxieties, fears, hatreds, and general confusions that beset the human condition. Meditation is a means of transforming the mind. Techniques that encourage and develop concentration, clarity, emotional positivity, and a true sense of the nature of things. By engaging with a meditation practice, you learn the patterns and habits of your mind. And the practice offers a means to cultivate new, more positive ways of being. Regular work and patience creates nourishing, focused states of mind that can deepen into peaceful and energized states of mind. Such experiences can have a transformative effect and can lead to a new understanding of life. While there's two types I'm going to share, the mala and the visualization, know that taking time to just pause, just like the breath, taking time to pause and smell the roses is meditation. If you have a moment where you can just put down whatever you're doing, stare out a window, go sit outside, get some fresh air, that is a form of meditation. Honestly, a silly kind of example of even meditation, if you are a smoker, I don't want to encourage smoking by all means, but even stopping to have that cigarette is a form of meditation. The way you're inhaling it, bringing it in, the feelings it gives you, that's a form of meditation. It's kind of a destructive form, and I can't even believe I'm mentioning it right now. But if you have time to pause and smoke a cigarette, you have time to pause and take some positive meditation for yourself. So turn that smoking habit into something else. Turn it into stopping to smell the flowers and appreciate the beauty around you and appreciate your lungs, knowing that from birth, it's the first thing you learned how to do was to breathe. So don't take it for granted. Stop putting toxins into your body. Stop taking for granted that first breath you took as a child, that your mother gave you that birth, your body, and treat your body better. Continue to take time to pause for yourself, but let go of the destructive habits and turn them into good habits. Because I know you have time to meditate. If you have time to stop and make a cocktail for yourself, or open up a candy bar wrapper, or smoke a cigarette, or whatever your destructive pattern is, if you have time to do that, you have time to turn that into something else, to cultivate your mind rather than feed yourself what you think you're entitled to feed yourself with. Does that make sense? A mala. So this mala, I'll explain a little bit more in a second, but this mala could truly become that replacement for the cigarette. If you feel like you need to have something for your hands to do, this mala could be really key. You can wear them. They're beautiful. They're made of stones that have energy that you choose to help you cultivate your intentions and affirmations. But this mala, you can wear it and meditate with it. All right, now let's move on and get a little more technical about the mala. Mala beads are a string of beads traditionally used in prayer and meditation. They are also a beautiful reminder of our intentions. A full mala has 108 beads to form a necklace. It has a 109th bead that is called the guru bead and is usually bigger or a different shape or color than those that make up the other 108. It can be as simple as a marker to mark where the mala begins and ends, or it can also have its own energy based on your intentions, or its own energy based on what kind of stone or crystal it is. Malas can be made from gemstones or crystals that have energy to match the intention of your practice. For instance, darker beads tend to absorb negative energy. White beads tend to promote learning and opening your mind to other possibilities. And then the other colors, there's just a huge spectrum. You'll really need to just dig in with gemstones and crystals. Get a book or Google them online to start finding out some of the properties. But it can be a lot of fun to start matching the properties of the stones and crystals to your needs and your intentions. How to meditate with a mala. Choose a spot, sit comfortably with your eyes closed. Take a few deep breaths to center and align yourself with your intention. Recall your mantra we created earlier to repeat aloud or silently. Hold your mala in your hands. Starting at one side of the guru bead, use your thumb to count each smaller bead, pulling it toward you as you recite your mantra with your breath. For instance, inhale, I am, exhale, beautiful. Or inhale, I am, and exhale, creative. Or if you have a longer mantra, it might be more like, inhale, I am healthy, and on your exhale, and I am balanced. So it would be inhale, I am healthy, exhale, I am balanced. And keep repeating this. Do this 108 times, traveling around the mala until you reach the guru bead. If you want to continue the meditation, instead of passing over the guru bead, simply reverse direction and begin it again. In theory, they say if you repeat your mantra 108 times, so going around the mala once, but do this for 108 times. So take time. If you do this once a day, you do it for 108 days. So repeating your mantra 108 times, going around the mala bead for 108 days. And they say in theory, by the end of that 108 times for 108 days, you should truly become what you seek. Another form of meditation, visualization. This requires you to create a theme for your meditation. Don't let this stress you out. Chances are you are already stressed and need to calm your mind. It is simply your happy place. So visualize the ocean, a snowy day, or if you are currently someplace beautiful already, then gaze at the scenery with your eyes, and then take a mental picture and close your eyes to drink in its beauty. Visualization is always best if you start with breath, your pranayama. The retention breath would be very good here, finding the pause between the inhale and the exhale. Eventually, when your body starts to naturally breathe in a pattern without having to think about it, then you can start to visualize your theme. You will know your body is breathing in a pattern on its own when you start to think about other random things or even start to multitask. This is when you need to reel yourself in and focus on your visualization or your theme. May it be the ocean, snow, a field of flowers, balloons blowing up and shrinking like your lungs, or actually taking inventory of your whole body by breathing into each body part one breath at a time, starting with your toes and work up, or vice versa. You could be really descriptive here. So inhale into your toes and exhale. Inhale into the sole of your foot and exhale. Inhale, moving up past the heel and into your ankle, working your way up the calves and shins. So you can truly take your time and really call out the different body parts. Note, you can meditate and use a visualization on a big decision in your life. But remember, try to focus on the positive, the solution, not the negative. And resist multitasking and thinking of multiple things that could distract you from your intentions. For instance, if you are wondering if you should go back to school or do more training before becoming a professional in your field or to go out on your own, Tara Moore, the author of the book Playing Big that I talked about earlier, talks about this in her book. We tend to think we need more training before we take the next step. You might find through sitting with your decision that you already possess enough knowledge to create your own business. But is your confidence in yourself that you are lacking? You are getting in your own way. And no amount of training will change that. So you shift your meditation to, I am smart. I do know what I'm doing. I am worthy of my own business, and being paid for my knowledge is a service well done. So at first, when you sat down to meditate about this decision, you started to meditate about whether you should go back to school or learn more about your profession. But after sitting and thinking about this possible goal or change in your life, you start to realize, no, I already know these things. I am just getting in my own way. And then you start to realize you just need to inflict change in your life. You need to move on. You are smart enough and you can do this. And then your decision starts to become more clear that it's not more schooling you need. You just need more self-confidence. And you need to just start doing it and make it happen. And seeking more education was actually a diversion from what really needs to take place. With meditation, the main thing to remember is KISS. Keep it simple, silly. So silly, it's simple. Nothing to fear, and it doesn't have to be a grueling task. Start out at 2 minutes per day, and then add on 2 more if that feels easy, then 2 more, and so on. And just sit with nature. Again, if you have time to take out of your day to make a cup of coffee, smoke a cigarette, buy a candy bar and open it up and eat it, those are all forms of probably meditation. I hate to admit it, but they are. But see if you can turn those destructive habits into something more positive. Replace the coffee with some tea, some nice herbal tea or the tridosha tea. Replace the cigarette with breathing and using a mala necklace so that your hands have something to fidget with. Or go get a fidget spinner, as silly as that sounds. Replace the candy bar with something else that makes you feel fuller, like the retention breathing, holding the inhale at the top and the exhale at the bottom. Find something else that helps you feel full rather than eating something that's going to take you away from your goal of losing 10 to 20 pounds. And just simply sit with nature. Remember, there are many things in life that are beyond our control. However, it is possible to take responsibility for our own states of mind and to change them for the better. It is possibly the most important thing we can do. It is the only real antidote to our own personal sorrows and to the anxieties, fears, hatreds, and general confusions that beset the human condition. Journaling. Through this training, I encourage you to journal. I provided a PDF workbook for you to take notes. It's on the NamaStream website. You can download it and fill it out online, or not online, but on your computer, and then save it and not again have to deal with the clutter of paper laying around your house. You can also just use a journal or a notebook that you have lying around the house. But sometimes to buy a journal, if you are somebody who feels that you're entitled to buy something or nurture yourself with material aspects, then a journal might be a good place to exercise that. Go ahead and treat yourself to a nice journal and then use it. Use it to help you cultivate. But if you want to be more practical, you can find a notebook lying around the house or even journal online with my provided workbook or an online journal service. They do have them out there, those little apps. Anyway, a journaling practice. Keep a journal by your bed and write down any thoughts that are keeping you from falling asleep, especially if you have a hard time falling asleep. 2, if you tend to wake up in the middle of the night, write down the thoughts whenever you wake up so that you can move on to your sleep, but know that those thoughts are waiting for you in the morning on paper. 3, when you awaken in the morning, quickly write down and recall your dreams you had, even if you don't think they make sense. This will track any reoccurring dreams that someday might make sense to you as you put together the puzzle pieces. 4, journal anytime you see fit. Svadhyaya is a Sanskrit word for self-study. Always stimulate yourself, always learn something new, and follow your dreams. Some suggested reading or podcasts. Only if you want to dive deeper. This is not mandatory if you want to pursue these, but if you want to dive deeper. But it's not mandatory to finish these 5 modules. The book, Idiot's Guide to Ayurveda by Sahara Rose, is a great book on Ayurveda. It's very easy to follow. By all means, she calls it the Idiot's Guide, so it must be easy to follow, right? She also has a podcast called The Highest Self. Sometimes she rambles, but when she has a good subject, it's definitely worth listening to. And you can always skip forward and back in podcasts and skip through the rambling if you'd like. The book, The Prime by Kulreet Chaudhry. She's actually a medical doctor that studied, I believe, in California. But she considers herself an integrative neurologist. So she's a neurologist, an MD, but has also gone to India to study Ayurveda and become an Ayurvedic doctor as well. That's where the integrative part comes in, where she integrates the two techniques and knowledges or theories. The book Playing Big by Tara Moore. This is all about getting out of your own way, ridding yourself doubt, and accomplish your dreams, goals, and ambitions. Her Audible book is amazing. More podcasts. There's Yoga Land, Love Teaching Yoga, and Savannah. Savannah can be listened to by anybody. You don't have to be a yoga instructor. But the Love Teaching Yoga and Yoga Land are kind of specific to yoga instructors or heavy yogis, even practitioners. Your Om work, instead of homework, it's Om work, is to buy a journal or use an existing notebook you already have, or upload my PDFs that I provided for you as a workbook. In your journal, list out your goals with milestones so you can track your progress and celebrate the journey. In your journal, create your positive affirmation or mantra. Then post a sticky note somewhere where you will see it. Meditate 2 to 3 minutes per day or more, using your personal affirmation or focus on your breathing. Start to even use this as time to, like I said, replace those destructive habits with some light meditation. And take the dosha quiz PDF provided on NamaStream to prepare you for Module 2 Ayurveda. The dosha quiz, whether you are Pitta, Vata, or Kapha. So get this dosha test done before the next module. And as we wrap up, thank you for your support and dedication to finding your true path in this journey we call life. Feedback is the gift of sharing. Namaste means the light, the student, and the teacher in me honors the light, the student, and the teacher in you. Knowing I can learn from my students just as much as I am sharing my knowledge with my students, there is no doubt in my mind that I can benefit from constructive feedback from each of you. I value any and all feedback. However, I do ask that you provide constructive feedback and no haters. So you can find a feedback form. I provided a PDF feedback form for each module. It's also on NamaStream where you find the dosha quiz and you found this module to watch. So if you can open it up, you can type and save it on the computer and then email it back to me. You can also print it, fill it out, scan it, and email it back to me if you want to take those additional steps. But I have made it as an editable PDF that you can fill out online. Either way, or however else you want to give me feedback, call me, email me without the form, whatever. I just really would love to have your feedback and even testimonials that I might be able to use for my future promotions. Thank you all so much. I'm excited to move on to the second module. But in the meantime, practice these simple meditations. Honor your life. You deserve the best. Honor your journey and celebrate the milestones along the way. Namaste.